If you are in your 20s and working in a high-stress, high-income field like tech, stop scrolling. You are currently in the most dangerous financial decade of your life. The decisions you make in the next 5 years will determine if you retire at 40 or work until you are 70. I've watched some of the smartest people I know land six-figure jobs before they turn 25 and still end up stressed, stuck, and wondering where it all went wrong, not because they weren't talented, not because they didn't work hard, but because no one taught them how to handle success when it comes fast. So what happens? Your income jumps. Your lifestyle quietly follows, and before you realize it, you're locked into a life that looks successful but doesn't feel free. Long hours, constant pressure, golden handcuffs you can't walk away from. I've seen this pattern play out again and again. And today, I'm giving you the raw, unfiltered advice I wish someone had given me the moment I wrote my first line of code. Before the money started coming in, and before the mistakes became expensive. You finally get there. The offer letter hits your inbox. And the number almost doesn't feel real. It's more than your parents ever made. More than you ever imagined earning this early. For a moment, everything clicks. All the late nights, the stress, the uncertainty, it feels worth it. And with that feeling comes something powerful. A sense of invincibility. I've made it. This is my new normal. It only goes up from here. So naturally, your lifestyle starts to match that belief. You move into the luxury high-rise. Better location, better view, better image. You upgrade your car, something that reflects your success. Something that feels like you've arrived. Maybe even a Tesla, clean, modern, a symbol of being ahead. And again, none of it feels reckless. Because your income supports it, or at least, it seems like it does. But here's what's happening underneath all of that. You're building a life based on an assumption that your income will continue rising indefinitely, that your career trajectory is guaranteed, that nothing will interrupt the flow. But reality doesn't work like that, especially in high-paying fields. Markets shift, companies restructure, industries change faster than expected. And then there's something even more personal. Burnout. Working at that level isn't easy. Long hours, constant pressure, high expectations. At first, you can handle it. But over time, it catches up, and here's where the risk appears. Your lifestyle is fixed, rent doesn't go down, car payments don't pause, expenses don't adjust automatically. But your income, it's not guaranteed, so now you're in a position where everything depends on one thing: your ability to keep performing at that level indefinitely, and that's a fragile place to be. Because what started as success slowly turns into pressure, not to grow, but to maintain. And that's the hidden trap. You didn't just upgrade your lifestyle. You built a system that now depends on you never slowing down. The real crisis for hiring professionals in their 20s isn't income. It's a dangerous assumption that the energy you have today will last forever. Right now, you can handle it. Long hours, late nights, constant pressure. You tell yourself, this is temporary, I can push through. It's worth it for the money. And maybe, for a while, it is. But here's the problem. You start building your entire lifestyle around that version of yourself. The one who can always say yes. The one who can always perform. The one who never burns out. And based on that assumption, you lock in massive fixed costs, high rent in a luxury building, car payments that don't go away, subscriptions, commitments, expectations. These aren't flexible expenses. They're obligations. They show up every month. No matter what. Now fast forward. The job that once felt exciting starts to change. The workload increases. The environment becomes more demanding. Maybe even toxic. Or maybe nothing external changes. You just get tired. Mentally, physically. The same job that once felt like an opportunity starts to feel like a burden. But here's where it becomes a trap. You can't just walk away, because your lifestyle depends on it. Your expenses require that income, so now you're not working because you want to. You're working because you have to. That's the shift from freedom to dependency. And that's the real problem, not high income, but building a life where your expenses require you to stay in situations you no longer want to be in. Because when your costs are fixed, your choices become limited. And instead of using money to create freedom, you end up using your time and energy just to maintain a life you don't even enjoy anymore. What keeps people stuck in this cycle isn't ignorance. It's psychology, specifically, something called the optimism bias. It's the quiet belief that bad things happen, but not to me. Logically, you know layoffs exist, you've seen people burn out. You've heard about market crash, job cuts, companies restructuring overnight. But emotionally, you distance yourself from it. It feels like something that happens to other people. Not you, not now. Not while you're young, skilled, and in demand. So when income starts flowing in, your brain doesn't think about protection. It thinks about possibility, upgrade the apartment, improve the lifestyle, enjoy the moment. Because in your mind, the future is always stable, always predictable, always upward, but that's the illusion. And it's powerful because it feels positive. That's the dangerous part. Optimism bias doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like confidence, so instead of building a safety net, you delay it. You tell yourself, I'll start saving seriously next year. Once I get a raise, I'll build an emergency fund. I'm too early in my career to worrying about that. And that's how vulnerability is created. Slowly, silently, without any obvious warning signs. Because life doesn't announce when things will change. Layoffs don't come with preparation time. Burnout doesn't schedule itself. Income instability doesn't warn you in advance. But optimism bias makes you behave like you have time, like nothing will interrupt your current path. So you build a life optimized for the best-case scenario, instead of preparing for the realistic one. And that's where the problem deepens. Because without a defensive foundation, even a strong income becomes fragile. You're one unexpected event away from stress, one disruption away from pressure, one change away from instability. And the irony is, the higher your confidence in the system working out, the less prepared you actually are for when it doesn't. That's why emergency funds, buffers, and financial safety nets matter. Not because you expect failure, but because you stop assuming you're exempt from it. Let's bring this into your reality for a second. Imagine this, you wake up tomorrow, and your job is gone, no warning. No transition period, just over. Now ask yourself honestly, how many months could you survive right now without changing your lifestyle? Not cutting expenses, not moving out, not downsizing. Just continuing exactly as you are today. 1 month, 3, 6. Or would pressure start building almost immediately because that number? That's your real security level, not your salary, not your job title, your runway, and whatever answer came to your mind. That's not something to ignore, that's something to improve. Because financial stability isn't about how much you make. It's about how long you can last when the income stops. The most successful 20-somethings I've seen don't just think about earning more. They think about protecting their options. They follow something I like to call financial defensive driving. Just like on the road, they assume anything can happen, traffic can stop suddenly, conditions can change, someone else can make a mistake. So they don't drive at the limit, they build margin. And financially, that margin shows up in one key way. They keep their fixed costs low, not because they can't afford more, but because they understand what high fixed costs take away: flexibility. They choose the reasonable apartment, not the maximum one. They delay the expensive car, even when they can qualify for it. They avoid locking themselves into payments that require constant high performance. From the outside, it might not look impressive, but underneath, it's powerful. Because when something changes, and it always does, they're ready. If the market turns, if the company restructures, if burnout hits harder than expected, they don't panic. They have what most people don't: time, savings, low obligations, breathing room. What some people call FU money, not in an arrogant way, but as a form of freedom, the ability to say, I don't have to stay here. They can walk away from a toxic job, take a few months off to recover, switch careers without desperation, and that changes everything. Because now decisions aren't driven by fear, they're driven by choice. That's the real advantage, not just making a high income, but creating a life where your income doesn't control you. Where you have enough space to pause, reset, and move intentionally, instead of being forced to keep running just to maintain your lifestyle. That's what financial defensive driving gives you, not just stability, but the ability to choose your next move without pressure. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Your 20s aren't for buying luxury. They're for buying leverage. Leverage means options, flexibility, control over your time, because every dollar you don't lock into lifestyle becomes a tool that can be invested, a tool that can grow, a tool that can reduce your future pressure. Luxury feels good in the moment, but leverage changes your entire future. Because when you build a strong financial base early, savings, low fixed costs, investments working in the background, you're not just earning money, you're building a financial fortress. And in your 30s, that pays off in a way most people underestimate. You don't wake up thinking, I have to go to work. You have a choice to stay, to switch, to pause, to walk away if needed. That's the real goal. Not just making money, but creating a life where your income supports your freedom, instead of controlling it. Let's make this real. If you're in your 20s right now, what's your biggest financial fear? Is it losing your job, not saving enough, feeling stuck in a lifestyle you can't sustain? Drop it in the comments. Because chances are, someone else is thinking the exact same thing. And this is how you start turning fear into clarity. And if this helped you see money differently, make sure you subscribe, because the goal isn't just to earn more. It's to build a life where you're actually in control.